What's up, baby dolls? Do you remember the missing flight MH370 from Malaysia Airlines? Last year, I made a video, and I have right here. It's actually very fantastical. So this video was leaked out, and it has not been disproven today, okay? So I've got so much more information for you. The video was leaked out, and pretty much, friends, it shows the plane, which I'm going to play for you the video soon. It shows the plane flying, MH370, comes from US satellites. 3 UFO orbs circle it and zap it out of existence. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we're just going to play the video so you know what I'm talking about. Right here. So there's not going to be any music, but you can see it. It's coming along. It's just slowly flying through the ocean, through the skies. Here comes Mr. Planey. And you're going to have a bit of a visitor soon, or 3. So the plane's still flying. Go, what? Something's coming along. Now, this is obviously it. See, 3 orbs, friends. 3 orbs around the plane. It's actually on here, but they've just zoomed in for you on the left. And they've put like infrared or something, or different schemes so you can see it. So there's 3 orbs circling it. Right here. They're circling, and it's actually going to zap the plane out of existence. Let's go. Pop. See you later. Where'd you go? He went to another dimension. Something's happening. Now, I can tell you firsthand, when this came out, it was getting too popular. So the Coconut Intelligence Agency, the Kia, what they did was they released another version of that video on Reddit. From another account, which they have. Okay, they released it. And the video, what it did was, you see that pop at the end? How it just disappeared? What they did was, very, very skilled people. They have so much professional PsyOps. They went to a Super Nintendo game in the late 1990s. One of those like flying airspace games, you know, like the shoot 'em ups where it's basically you're flying a plane, you got to shoot like stuff. I think it's saying there's one of the bomb explosions. And they took the bomb explosion sprite and they put it in the video. And then they had other people debunk the video and say, hey, this isn't a real video. It's now been debunked. You see, the sprite came from a 1990s video game. That's not the official video. The official video, it does not match the bomb sprite that they were using, okay? Now, I have some updates here. So, shout out to this gentle sir, I think his name is Ashton Forbes, okay? Now, Ashton Forbes, friends, he has been researching this thing to the tick. All right, man, I can't believe it, friends. Like, the guy who leaked the video, we got his name. Oh, man, we're about to go deep. So, off the cuff, I'm going to tell you something amazing about that video, right? Actually, I should play it for you again. Okay, this is insane. Now, if you go back to this video, friends, you see at the very end, there's this little popping part, like right here. You see that on the left? Let's watch the left. See how it pops out here? That popping part, friends, this is a heat signature, okay? But it becomes cold. You see that? It becomes cold. Now, someone came out and they did scientific equations. And they were writing a PhD. And they basically got goosebumps. Because they did Einstein's equations to basically do the wormhole. And they did some like, I don't know how, they did some like, you know, one of the nerd equations and the maths formulas. And they found out that if you're doing this wormhole thing, the middle will be cold and then the outside will be hotter. Well, in that video, the middle was cold and the outside was basically hotter. It's something to do with like this physics part of how they did it. So now this is where it gets absolutely crazy. When this video was released, like over 10 years ago or whatever, we did not have the maths equations and the science to know that a wormhole was cold in the middle. So whoever made this video, either there's some sort of like genius level physicist who was able to hoax future mathematics that wasn't even invented yet about physics, or it's real, okay? So I'm just giving you like a quick tidbit about it while I play some angel music for you. So when I read that, I was like, oh, wow, okay, it's legit. Wow, it's legit. Where did it go? Now, friends, I'm about to tell you this cute story, right, as we dive into this, but this goes it's a bit crazy. When the flight basically disappeared, there was a psychic lady, and she has a page on the internet, it's still up there. I forgot the lady's name. And she basically did like this remote viewing psychic stuff. And this is the craziest part, man. This is over 10 years old. People were asking her, what happened to the flight? And she does like her own like channeling and healing. And this is crazy. She was saying like 10 plus years ago, this video wasn't out. She was saying, I'm trying to contact these guys. I'm remote viewing. They are pretty much in another time. They're zapped out of this reality. UFOs, I see UFO ships. They're taken to another time. It doesn't make sense to us now. They're on like an island. They're in this same place, but not this same time. And why it gets crazy is that part's like, whoa, but then it gets like really detailed. And like, she was talking about stories about like one of the doctors on the plane and stuff. And that's why I was like, oh, how much can I really believe of that? But that was crazy, right? How did this freaking channeler psychic lady even have the idea that when this plane went missing, she goes, oh, they got zapped by UFOs and taken out? That was crazy. Let's continue with the other things going on. So this is Ashton, right? Oh, sorry, yeah. My editor, Aaron Rogers. So this guy's the guy name himself here. This is Ashton, pretty much. Okay, Ashton. I think that's his name's Ashton. He goes, look, I'm writing this letter. I've slowly realized how difficult it is to impact change in the world. It requires influential people to see the paradigm shift. Now, you know, friends, it's cute. You're coming out here, you got your glasses, bro, your cute little pink shirt, you're coming out. These guys, they're literally the bug eaters themselves. They are the bug worshippers, the bug overlords. If they don't want people to know because it's going to freak them out, no one's ever going to know. Okay, now, he continues, right? He's talking about, he goes to this, he's replying to another guy. I understand your skepticism. Those videos, what we just saw, aren't what anybody expects. It's frankly too much for most people to accept. The videos represent the largest conspiracy in history. Oh, I don't know about that. The theft of a Boeing 777 and the suppression of gravitational manipulation. Yes, that pretty much that part. He goes, where this science and technology leads is to free energy. Do you remember, friends? Look, crypto's here to stay. Crypto's not going anywhere. You don't want to know why? No one gets killed for it. All right. You want to get killed? Start writing out the formulas for 0-point energy. You're finished. I'm not joking. You'll be done. You'll be gone in 3-4 months. Okay. You won't even have a birth certificate anymore. Okay. 0-point energy. So if you actually release to the public how to make energy from like a liter of water of a tank, power your house and stuff, you don't need the oil and stuff companies anymore. You're finished. And there are documentaries out here made. Remember, I've told you guys many times there is a rest in peace to this guy. I've got to make a full video dedicated to him. If you're looking out there, brother, thank you so much. But, you know, he basically is a martyr. He went and made a movie about this. And the key, I got him. They gave him a super aggressive cancer that is literally found in like people like very, very late stage. He got like a lead ironing poisoning cancer. He was dead in like 3 to 4 months. So because they found out he was collecting all the info on everybody who had been mysteriously disappeared, where they do 0-point energy stuff in like their garage, and then someone comes in, throws Molotov cocktails in there, they buy the patent out, the guy gets disappeared if he doesn't take the payment, literally disappeared, like a random Turkish guy family, he's just gone forever. They said, oh, he committed suicide, but there's no body out here. So a lot of these things out here. He was actually trying to help the world about it. Okay, so this gentle sir continues. He goes, I want you to know I'm just a normal guy who saw 2 videos. He's investigating him deeply. So he goes, I investigated them. I investigated the missing plane, and I've discovered we really are hiding magical technology from the world. Now, friends, if you're watching my channel, you're like, oh, magical, it sounds like a fantastical word. But, you know, when you summarize it, you go, yes, we're a bunch of monkeys on an island. We can nuke each other because you're like, hey, you don't like my meme coin? I'm going to nuke you. Yes, we're like that. Maybe we're advancing human civilization. It's going to take some time. And he says, look, in my situation, it's so profound, you have to start by proving the lie. In this case, it's the false narrative we have been sold by the media on the missing plane, the Malaysia plane. This was not a pilot suicide, and the United States knows exactly what happened. Planes don't crash without leaving debris fields. There was over 1,000 pounds of foam seat cushions, and not one was found. So remember, friends, MH370, right? The Malaysia flight. All missing, okay? All missing. MH370. Lost, lost, lost. Now, like, oh, this was fake, by the way. Washed up debris. That ends up being fake, by the way. It ends up being fake. They only find this one part. It's not the plane. They just put that as a plant, okay? Because they're just like, oh, we found something, right? So he says, the MH370 pilot did not practice the route. The simulator data flight path was of MH370 to Jeddah. The pilot was scheduled to fly on February 4th. The simulator data was ruled not suspicious. The pilot was categorically ruled out by all parties, including the officials, family, and friends. Florence DeChangi got his medical records from his family and confirmed there were no red flags. I think they tried to say it was like a self-kamikaze self-harm situation. He goes, where the plane was lost from radar, there was still 5 radars in range from 3 different countries, including Indonesia, Thailand, India. None of these countries have ever made their data publicly available. As you pointed out, Rolls-Royce and Boeing also know what happened to this plane, as Rolls-Royce engine data transmits frequent updates. Rolls-Royce has never made their data publicly available either. So he's basically like, we know the US government went and knocked and goes, hey, give us the data. Right? He also continues, the US military has a global persistent surveillance system known as SBIRS. You know, I had no idea about that, friends. It's called the Space-Based Infrared System by Lockheed Martin. Remember, Lockheed Martin, friends, they're like Bug Eater and Alien Squared. They actually are making the UFO tech. They probably made Tic Tacs and everything else out here. And it blew my mind when I was seeing that for the first time. When I was seeing this data, the planes, this footage, I was checking it out, friends, and they have all these flight paths and everything out here. When I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, who's got this camera? And it turns out there are literally just hundreds of thousands, literally, US satellites all over, and all of them have video recording capability. They literally track everything. So then Ashton continues. He goes, there is no possible way this system would not have seen the debris field of a Boeing 777 in the ocean. The military also has a system called SOSUS, the Sound Surveillance System, which is a global network of acoustic detectors that can even pinpoint a tiny submersible implosion. Remember when the Navy heard the Titan sub pop and didn't say anything for 5 days? You remember that, friends? Remember those guys that were buried under the ocean, unfortunately, and then it exploded? Well, the Navy, they heard it pop. They knew they were dead. But they didn't tell the public about it because they wanted, I think, the Joe Biden scandal to go through. Remember Hunter Biden came out? He was doing too many lines in the White House and stuff. So they just let it go because they wanted the distraction. They didn't want to tell everybody that the people in the submarine had passed away. But they knew it did because of the explosion. That's wild, man. They can hear anything on Earth. That's crazy. You know? He then continues. There is no evidence this plane crashed in the South Indian Ocean, as you get to see, friends. You see, UFOs zapped it. There's no evidence it crashed. There's also acoustic detectors in Diego Garcia and Western Australia, both of which should have heard the plane crash. Yet a recent study by Cardiff University found no detectors during the duration of the suspected flight path. That's wild. It's true. They zapped out of existence. Where did they go? Are they in another time? Are they all dead? One candidate detection was found on one hydrophone almost an hour after the plane would have run out of fuel. So they said, oh, we do have a detection, because I kept asking about it. And they go, no, that's impossible. The plane would have run out of fuel. That's like saying, hey, you know your daughter, she's missing. We found her car, and her car is 1,500 kilometers that way, and she only used one petrol tank. And you're like, wait, bro, you can only drive 500 Ks on the car. That makes no sense. Okay. He continues to explain more details here. You know, more cover-ups. He goes, the plane flew past Cobra Cold, Cope Tiger military exercises between Thailand and the United States in the Andaman Sea. We're supposed to believe they weren't tracking a rogue plane. Why did the US give up the search of MH370 after just 1 month? So they knew, right? They knew. Ghislaine Watrelos, another Ghislaine, French father and husband, was told by an intelligence source that the Americans, they know what happened, and there are 2 radar planes in the area. So intelligence, they're like, we know what happened, not going to tell you though. That's what it's like, okay? They never give it up. But if you ask thousands of times, they know what happened. They won't tell you, but that's how you can figure out the holes. They know something. Yes. He goes, as for the debris found, I believe it is from MH370. However, that's not enough debris to confirm a plane crashed and the debris washed up on the wrong continent. Drift modeling was done, and the bulk of the debris should have washed up in Australia. It's actually impossible to have shown up in mainland Africa 1 year later. So that debris I showed you, it's possible for it to show up there. If you look at a map, and a much better location for the debris to have entered the water is the Maldives. Now, this is where it gets a bit strange. He says, what really happened to MH370 is an emergency event related to the 487 pounds of dangerous lithium-ion batteries on board. This is supported by 20 witnesses and the flight path. Mike McKay saw the plane on fire briefly for a few seconds from his oil rig. I remember this. I saw something on fire. 9 witnesses along the coast heard loud noises at the same time. 8 fishermen who saw it flying low 10 minutes later. A man on the coast who saw it on fire. A lady, Catherine T, saw the plane in the Nicobar Islands an hour later glowing orange with dark smoke coming out of the back of it, flying low and descending. So we're going through this, friends, and they've used this tech. So when I first watch it, this guy's obviously done like an insane amount of research. I thought, aliens zapped him out of space. Maybe this guy's basically implying that the US government has this stuff itself. And someone did a call like, hey, let's use the thing. I don't want to die. And they basically came and used it on themselves. So now we continue. Like he's basically now asks, right, why did the Malaysian Minister of Defense say they didn't send up jets to track the plane because they knew it was commercial and not hostile? So there's so many inconsistencies. You want to know what's interesting? The officials, right, they said they saw UFOs around that time and they had to change the story. That was pretty much the first instance of when it went disappearing. So then this guy says, well, why would you guys cover up a fire event? The MH370 videos are why. Just like how you are skeptical, those videos are not something the public is ready to accept even in 2024, let alone 2014. I had a hard time accepting it until I spoke to government-related engineers and started reading scientific papers. It's all real and it's all hidden in plain sight. He goes, I am not sure if the fire was an accident and we were trying to save high-value passengers, the 20 free-scale semiconductor engineers connected to US aerospace and defense, or if it was a counter-espionage operation from the start. So I guess what we were implying, and we discovered this, that there are a lot of high-profile guys on here, and they're like, oh, we got to get the UFO tech out here, right? We can't let this thing go down, right? He goes, retain the passengers if alive, retain sensitive cargo, and send a message to our adversaries. Don't F with us. Even if Russia or China knew, there's nothing they could possibly say. No one would believe him. So he's pretty much it. He goes, look, he says, I expect the reason why we teleported that plane is multi-purposed. So Something we're discovering together, friends, right? It was the US government did it themselves. Which is, I guess it's great because when it first happened, you know, like I said, we're like, uh-oh, does that mean you could be flying anywhere? And like, if aliens want to take you, they zap you out. Once again, I'm like, who's the most disappointing of all? It's actually the humans. The humans are killing each other. Kind of sad, kind of comforting, but also really sad. Like, it's not even the aliens, man. It's the humans doing it to each other. We're the ones killing each other. Crazy. Look at this. China leaked satellite imagery a few days after the plane went missing, and it looks like 3 orbs around the larger object. They also hacked Malaysia the day after the plane went missing and stole classified info about the plane. That's wild. Now it actually gets to a proper name, right? He says, Lieutenant Commander Edward C. Lin leaked the videos. The case against him is shrouded in secrecy, and the sentence he got after a plea deal is disproportionate to the charges. Man, that's why you know, friends. You leak this stuff, you go to jail. It's over. It's literally over. He goes, the time frame of his service with the spy plane squadron is damning. Within 1 month, the plane going missing. His lawyer said the classified information in question is available on the internet, and he was caught with flight manifests that include search and rescue code names. Right? Interesting. Now, to the science in the orbs. He goes, the science of the orbs is everything that UFO lore claims exist. Gravity manipulation, mass reduction, warp drives, wormholes, and zero-point energy. I was surprised to learn they're all directly connected by the same science. Space-time is not empty. It is filled with energy in an equilibrium state. Gravity is just an induced phenomenon based on relative energy density. So basically, that's 0-point energy, friends. It's like, well, we only know how to like burn stuff, get the fire. It pushes something back. That's how you get traditional, you know, the electricity, oil, and everything. But with this, it's like basically saying the air around us, there's like infinite energy tapped out. If you just find the way to tap it out, yeah. But you kind of see, or becomes a big problem with that. You're just going around just shooting everybody with laser pistols, right? And look, he continues more of the science. Interesting. This guy, man, he went a full nuts. He's like, whoa, I'm going to go figure out the science. Look what he says. If you reduced the equilibrium state of the energy densities in a localized region, you produce negative energy. That's what the dark lines in front of the orbs are doing. That's why the orbs are simply falling into the geodesic path they're creating for themselves and exhibit zero inertia. This is subluminal warp drive. The orbs are also showing characteristics of magnetic monopoles, which is why we see the odd-shaped heat signature. They are made of plasma, and we're looking at low-energy nuclear reactions, also known as cold fusion, the field that creates the spherical region in the non-radiating barrier of the magnet field. So I will show you that quickly again. Right here. So it's going to appear. They're the 3 orbs, friends. The US orbs coming out. Chew, 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 chew. And then you're going to see the heat signature. The cold fusion thing is going to pop up soon. Pop. There you go. See that? That's wild. See, what was interesting, right, is that psychic lady, remember, she believed that UFOs took them and they're zapped to another time. But what I've come to learn about these remote viewers and all these channelers and stuff, they're kind of on the right path, but then they fill in so many blanks that it's so hard to verify. It's almost like they go too much into detail, but they're kind of like in the right direction. It's kind of like, hey, someone's missing. Did he go north, south, east, or west? East or west? And you're like, oh, they went east. Yeah, they're usually right about that east part. But then you go, oh, where'd they go? They went into a pond and they swam under it and they went into a cave. You know, those types of details, usually it basically gets really, really hard to confirm with a lot of them. Fascinating as well, this next level of science. He says, the zap itself is an endothermic event, an absorption of energy. That's why it's black and cold in the thermal drone video. As far as I know, this is the first ever endothermic event on video. Just like folding a piece of paper and making a hole. This plane is teleporting to a different location in space-time, faster than the speed of light from the observer's perspective. For the people going through the wormhole, it's like going through a doorway. So, pretty much, we think that's what happened, right? They were carrying all these lithium-ion batteries, which they're not allowed to. They're not meant to carry them. And they were carrying them, and then something happened. They caught on fire. It was game over. And then they brought these things in to zap them out. That's wild, man. That's wild. Who's controlling them and how? Right? Do they know how to control them? Who's they as well? Is it us? We call someone? Is it 911? Hey, bring me some pizza and you got to rescue this stuff. That's wild, man. Based on the plane flying east in the satellite video and the right-hand rule in electrical engineering, the vector of travel for the plane is backwards to the west. A fire suppression device washed up in the Maldives a few weeks after the plane disappeared, and 15 to 20 islanders on a small island saw the plane in the early morning hours on the day of the disappearance. It's extremely suspicious that this evidence was dismissed without investigation. The only logical place to hide the plane is at US military base Diego Garcia, isolated from all major landmasses, out of radar range, and not open to commercial traffic. This base is extremely secretive. There's people who accidentally washed ashore there a few years ago and they've not been allowed to leave. Whoa, I did not know that, man. How did he figure that out? Wow. You washed ashore there, you're like, you're not allowed to go anywhere. He says, I could keep going. The satellite video is a Citrix remote terminal session logged into the real satellite database. The Orbs, which was going around the plane, displaced the smoke trails with accurate fluid dynamics in the satellite video. So what we saw, friends, a lot of people who did it, like really intelligent nerd science people, they're looking at it like, hey, whoever this was has done this mathematically and physically so realistic. Like, we haven't even done the science for it yet. Pretty much people don't even know this around the world, how these things work and just like the heat and how things move. It's like, it's so perfect. It's like it's not, you can't even CGI it. It's basically perfect. It's basically real. He goes, you know, there's a ton more evidence, actually. He says, and there's MH370 videos being authentic, true story of what happened. You get to see it. And he says, I don't want people to believe me blindly. I want them to make up their own minds based on the evidence. The videos and the science will be proven real with the passage of time. Science like this can't be hidden forever. It's a discovery, not an invention. The scary question is, why are we hiding it? For that, I've reached a dark conclusion. He says, this technology will lead to the eradication of our civilization. As we just said, friends, we just said, oh, I guessed. Let me guess. We're going to blow each other up. I mean, like, friends, we're literally arguing over football teams. You think Manchester United people aren't going to blow up Arsenal or something. You know what I mean? So, of course they will. He continues, with this tech, we can extract endless energy from the 0-point fluctuations. That's a problem. That's a problem. Endless energy, kind of like making like endless fire or laser beams from like one source. It's no wonder, friends, where it does make sense where the zoo animals, there are zookeepers, and whenever we like get a bit too aggressive and there's missiles being shot, there's always UFOs. They're basically like destroying them. They're like, listen here, monkeys, if you want to play ball with like the rest of the solar system and whatever else is out there in the universe, you can't go around blowing each other up, man. Like, everyone's got to pretty much make a pact, a deal. You know, we could literally all end each other in 5 seconds if we want to. You can't do that, right? He also talks about free energy. We can produce weapons of unfathomable destructive capability, including a black hole. Damn. Really? You just suck everything into a black hole? That won't turn out nice. That'd be a bit of a problem, right? He says, I push for disclosure because I want the world to understand the risks and choose our own fate. Yeah. It's an impossible challenge, friends, because having the debate is dangerous itself. You know, when you first come into this, you learn that, hey, they're hiding stuff. They don't want us to know. And then I hate to admit this, but the more I learn, I'm like, oh, that's why they're hiding it. You have to. They just can't tell you, right? Because look what happens. We're too violent. We're literally fans. We have not evolved fast enough to deal with this technology. None of us have. Look what we do with guns, by the way. Blowing each other up, bombs, nukes. We literally, that's us, okay? We're still so territorial, man. Like friends, I want to kill people who don't even have my crypto coins. You know what I mean? Like, I just, just imagine people like, hey, you were born on the wrong island. You don't have my colored skin. That's the default state. And it takes like a few bad apples to just ruin it for everybody else. 95% of us are chill. We're all right, okay? It says bottom 5%, they suck. What would you do, man? Tell the people? Really? Look at all the sheep, by the way. Look at all the sheep out there. Do you really want them to know? Do you really want them to have control? Maybe they're doing the right thing. Maybe that's just what you have to do. Okay, you have to protect America. You can't even come out. Imagine they come out and imagine they came out just on camera saying, hey, you're all really stupid and you're going to blow each other up. We've got to keep this tech for ourselves. They can't even do that. They can't even like basically admit to America and Russia that this stuff exists, even though they know there's all this weird stuff happening, but they just don't want everyone else to know. Okay, so it is fascinating. So I guess it is true, right? MH370 was zapped. UFOs. But it's our UFOs. Americana. They took them to the base. Something went wrong on there. And now it's just a giant cover-up. Gravitational warping of reality. All these, right? That's why, friends, I tell you from the bottom of my heart, I really do mean it. Everybody's a paid shill. Okay? Now, after seeing what you're seeing, that now makes sense, right? When I tell you, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example, friends, you know, like, he's a paid shill, man. He's on the government pay packet. He's like, bring me a UFO cigarette ashtray. But you are literally, you go into the zoo, you grab a monkey, and you're like, hey, monkey, if we exist, go bring an iPhone from the president and show them how to tweet. Go show your monkey friends how to tweet. And they're like, I can't. I'm stuck in this little jail cell. My zoo, I can't go. I don't know what you're talking about. What's Twitter, by the way? Who's the president? What's a president? See what I mean? Your brain's frying already as a little monkey. Well, it's that equivalent for us as well. We're so basically not caught up yet. But we are catching up. It's going to take time. Maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. Who knows? We are moving pretty fast, though. It's crazy. So there are paid shills. Just to remind you, there are confirmed offspring, so daughters and sons. They found out, you know, oh crap, dad was on the government payroll and he went out of his way to just tell everybody aliens don't exist. We can't go faster than this speed, you know, just sit down, stop asking questions, okay? The science is the science, like that type of stuff. So it's kind of fascinating, right? Even science guys are paid shills. They're all paid shills just because part of NASA, friends. NASA's bug, literally. NASA is like, it's like the cent. You do any research into NASA, you're like, oh, you guys, you're not the fun-loving, hey, let's fly rocket ships and we love astronauts. No. They're like controlling basically all the UFO text and everything that that's the government basically control part of that. Keep everything. They do all the PsyOpsing, the photoshopping of Mars, brushing out all the other stuff so we can't see things. They change colors of like Mars and stuff. They do a lot of things. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think, friends. It is fantastical. Or is it? Not really. Here's the thing. You know when you go through all these stories, and I'm always trying to find a story that just doesn't make sense. And the ones that don't make sense, you just filter them out. But there are a lot. But let me tell you this. After you read 100 of these, and you see 100 of these, what I always do is I say, okay, look, I've read 100 things, and as humans, we want to believe. We want to believe in a narrative, okay? Just like crypto, I want to believe in a narrative. Okay. Let's say 95% of what you read was just absolutely made up fake. 95%. That still leaves 5% of world-changing, mind-altering, humanity-warping information. Realities of life. It's changing everything. That 5%. If any of it is true at any point, it's all true. Okay, so Is it hard to wrestle with? Probably not really, because you and I, we're not taking on these guys. You can't take on these guys, okay? Do you even want to get into government to go compete with this? You can't, okay? You can't. As we got to learn as well, the more higher up you go, the more of a target you are for control. So we're just going to live our lives. Make sure you like, subscribe, bell button, and all. Catch you in the next one.